he was gassed out fighting Mike Tyson, bro. I'm sorry, but like, yes, I know he probably took his foot off the gas because, you know, it's Mike Tyson. He doesn't want to knock out a legend, but
KSI is tearing into Jake Paul for dodging real fighters, claiming his wins are nothing more than a scam to cash in on the hype.
We all know you're just full of shit. You're not really a heavyweight. You just fight all these people that are super easy to fight because you want to just make a name for yourself, get the easy money, easy bag.
Jake Paul continues to receive intense criticism and a flood of challenges from fighters within the boxing community. After his controversial win against the legendary Mike Tyson, many have called out Paul, eager to be the one to take down the man who fought a much older Tyson and made a significant amount of money from it.
It was crap, wasn't it? Let's be honest. The fight itself was awful. What happened in the fight? What happened in the ring? There was no substance. It's like when you're cooking a meal all day. You cook up a nice broth. You put your organic steak mince in. You put your potatoes in. Your sweet potatoes are a bit better for you. Bit of vegetables, all your stock, and you're slow cooking it all day. And then at the end of the day, when you dip the spoon in and you have a little sample and it tastes like absolute shit, you think to yourself, what a waste of time that was. And that's what this fight was. The fight itself was a massive anticlimax. It was crap. It was a waste of time. I'm glad I didn't stay up late to watch it. All the people that pay good money to be there and watch it, they must be disappointed with that performance. The fight was absolutely hopeless. It was terrible.
However, KSI believes that Jake Paul will keep picking unusual opponents for the sole purpose of profiting and boosting his own image, rather than facing real competition.
I'm just here, for me right now, I'm like, where can he go now? Where can he really go at this point? What has he got? He scammed Netflix. He scammed DAZN. He scammed Showtime. He scammed all these people. Where's he gonna go? He MVP is fucking like, what is that? So I don't really know where he's gonna go with that. And I don't think anyone's going to want to do business with him.
KSI has been vocal about his belief that the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was nothing more than a bank robbery, echoing what many have referred to as a scripted cash grab rather than a legitimate boxing match. The fight between Paul and Tyson, despite the criticism, garnered an astonishing 108 million views, making it the most streamed sporting event ever. This monumental viewership contributed to a massive financial payout for both Paul and Tyson, adding to the controversy. Despite the criticism, the event's financial success was undeniable. However, this success only fueled claims that the fight was a scam, with many calling it a poor display of sportsmanship in boxing.
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong. I told him, Mike, you're basically 60 years old. And he's like, you honestly think this kid's going to do anything to me? He's not good. He's not going to knock me out. He's not going to do this. And you saw him. He tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on, and Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money, and I know people are mad. You stayed home on a Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? And, you know, this is what Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson shows up, everybody makes money, you know? Jake Paul isn't fucking, you know, I don't have to tell you guys. You guys know. Mike Tyson is the A++++ side of that thing. And he was right. Jake Paul couldn't do it to him. So he was right and I was wrong.
Mike Tyson said via X the following: this is one of the situations when you lost but still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in the ring one last time.
The fight drew in a lot of new viewers, many of whom weren't necessarily boxing fans. The excitement surrounding the match was heightened by Tyson's iconic status as a former champion, though many of these new viewers didn't have realistic expectations. KSI, for one, argued that Tyson, at 58 years old, had no business being in the ring with Jake Paul. Tyson's age was a critical factor, and KSI believes that the entire spectacle was a form of exploitation of a man who should have stayed retired. Tyson in his prime was a force to be reckoned with, but at his current age and with his limited training, it was never going to be a fair contest.
Let me ask you about Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I called it a bank robbery because the money was good, right? They
Money was great for Jake and Mike, and I guess we felt hard done by.
I mean, I kind of knew. I saw the 2 minute, I saw the 14 ounces that gave me a feel that Jake would probably see openings. It's a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, the guy's a granddad. He would maybe box off the jab a little bit and it would go to points. That was exactly what we saw. They sold something very different to, I think, 90% of the world. I mean, what did you make of it when you
saw
it?
It's a shame because, you know, I guess a lot of people that watch the fight don't really watch boxing, so they probably thought.
Jake Paul's boxing record consists of 12 fights, 11 of which he has won, which makes him a relatively inexperienced boxer compared to seasoned fighters. KSI pointed out that Jake's advantage in the fight against Tyson came from his youth and strength. Tyson's age and declining physical condition made it an unfair fight from the start, something that KSI believes Paul should have avoided for the sake of his own credibility. But as KSI rightly pointed out, Jake Paul has no shame, and he took the fight anyway, much to the dismay of real boxing fans.
Jake Paul, not realizing that he is, well, Mike Tyson is an OAP. He's an old man and had no right to be in the ring. And Jake Paul is in his prime. Drink prime. So it was, I thought it was just, the whole thing was embarrassing, especially that Jake took the fight. But it's Jake. Jake doesn't give a shit. He has no shame.
After the fight, Jake Paul found himself bombarded with call-outs from fighters across the globe. Many criticized his choice of opponent, with some even calling his victory over a 58-year-old man embarrassing and disrespectful. KSI was quick to suggest that Jake would avoid fighting legitimate contenders, instead continuing to pick old or unqualified fighters who wouldn't pose a real threat. KSI argued that Jake Paul is unlikely to fight someone like Daniel Dubois, a top-tier heavyweight, because he knows he would be no match for a true champion like Dubois.
Now look, Tony, if these reports are right, that Daniel Dubois has offered Jake Paul a shot at the IBF heavyweight world title, well, could you see that fight happening? Could you see Jake Paul getting in the ring with Dubois?
Jeff, I mean, I know the boy's got a great imagination, but I don't know what plans he's on, mate. He's just got to be on Mars or somewhere like that to even think about something like that. I mean, listen, it couldn't be sanctioned anyway, that's first and foremost.
Jake's manager had even looked into setting up a fight with iShowSpeed as a potential opponent instead of pursuing a real challenge.
Yo, Jake!
What up, bro?
So you think you're gonna beat Mike Tyson?
I know I'm gonna beat Mike Tyson.
You know what, bro? Mike is about to f*** your ass up! He about to f*** you up, Jake!
All right,
bro, he about
roll
to...
the highlight reel
bro,
of me knocking
like,
him
what
out.
is, like, what are you talking
about? Got an AR?
Like, bro, what is you talking? Bro, guy, I mean, you have to listen, bro. I do it. Bro, like, I'm sorry, this is Mike Tyson, bro.
KSI's criticism didn't stop there. He explained that Jake would continue his pattern of choosing aging or unqualified opponents because he simply doesn't have the guts to face real competition. KSI also mentioned that Jake wouldn't even consider fighting someone like Daniel Dubois, emphasizing that the weight class difference would be a huge challenge for him. Jake's previous claim that he took it easy on Tyson was met with skepticism by KSI, who believes that Jake will avoid fighting real contenders as long as he can continue making money from easier opponents.
I think he's looking to maybe even fight Speed. His manager Nakisa is there like, yeah, bro, if Speed's on it, we're down. It's Jake. He doesn't care. He's had actual boxers wanting to fight him. Beterbiev has called him out to fight. Yeah. Dubois has called him out to fight. So he's not going to fight any of those people. He's just going to try and fight the easiest people and then make himself look like he's the best when he really is just a piece of...
Jake Paul's manager, Nakisa Badarian, was busy trying to make a fight between Jake and iShowSpeed happen, which only fueled KSI's belief that Jake was avoiding serious fighters. Meanwhile, on Logan Paul's podcast Impulsive, Jake said that he's willing to fight KSI.
You won't fight KSI because he's too young? KSI is old. He's like 34 or something.
So there's a chance?
He's a retired boxer. Like, he doesn't actually box, so it fits any senior citizen.
I'd really like you and KSI to stop hating each other. But I understand that can't happen without somebody getting knocked out or something. So can you just get it over with, please?
I'm ready.
No, you're not.
I'm
Neither
literally
is he.
Ready.
He's too light. You're too heavy. Flip a coin for the weight class?
I would low-key be down for that.
If he's down for that, that might be the solution to all this.
Jake also joked about the hate he received and the criticism surrounding his choice of opponents. Jake explained that his next opponent would need to meet certain conditions, but he also downplayed the intensity of the online hate. According to Jake, people who truly understand the sport appreciate what the fight was about, while the haters simply don't get it.
To the feedback on the fight that you're getting.
I'm not saying anything.
Nothing.
I don't need to say anything. You know, the people who understand the greatness of it and have their own lives and are happy with themselves, they're going to just show respect and show praise. It's the haters who are jealous and don't have anything going on in their sad and miserable lives, and they want to bring the whole event down, and Mike down, and me down, and all of these things.
Logan Paul also found himself at the center of controversy. After Tyson was asked if he would ever fight again, Tyson jokingly pointed towards Logan as a potential opponent. Logan responded by stating that Tyson was no match for him. The online backlash was swift, with many criticizing Logan for disrespecting Tyson. On the podcast, Logan attempted to justify his comments, explaining that he was simply reacting to Tyson's earlier remarks.
People thought my comment was disrespectful. They were saying, "This motherfucker's so disrespectful. How dare he talk to Mike like that?" What do you mean? Some guy, this dude just said he wanted to fight me. What'd I do?
Yeah.
Leave me out of it.
As for Tyson's performance in the fight, there were mixed opinions. Some believe that Tyson, despite his age, could have done more to make the fight competitive. Michael Irvin, a sports analyst, suggested that the fight might have been rigged, pointing out that Tyson had opportunities to land powerful punches but held back. Roy Jones Jr. shared his thoughts on the fight, highlighting that seeing Mike Tyson's focused energy gave him confidence that the bout was legitimate. He noted that the 2-minute rounds were beneficial for Tyson, allowing him to conserve energy. However, Jones also pointed out that Jake Paul, being younger, would likely get stronger as the fight went on. He advised Paul to box intelligently, maintain his distance, and try to tire Tyson out by making him move more. Jones suggested that as the fight progressed, Tyson's fatigue could become a key factor, and Paul could potentially exploit that weakness.
What up, y'all? Hey, we saw what happened tonight. Mike came out, gave it all he had. His legs, you could tell, weren't with him tonight, so it was a little bit difficult. But thank God Jake did knock him out, because I would have felt bad for Jake, because Andre Ward was definitely going to go after Jake if he did knock Tyson out. So thank God he didn't. Thank God everybody ended up healthy, happy. Now I ain't got to worry about Andre coming out of retirement no time soon, so we all good.
I mean, that's Mike. That's vintage Mike. I was glad to see it, actually, because it means that Mike ain't out here just going through the motion. He's serious about it, so I liked it.
Yeah, like his energy was like very calming throughout the week.
Yes, it was until now. And the fact that it came out now, I'm glad to see that, because if I hadn't saw that, I would be worried that this fight may not even be for real.
How do you see the fight, given how Mike and you guys fought a few years back?
2-minute rounds are good for Mike, but Jake gonna get stronger as the fight goes, because Jake's a younger guy. So I think Jake is smart to go out and probably try to box Mike earlier, but keep his distance. And if he can get Mike a little fatigued, make like Mike use his legs a little bit, try to get him,
The sentiment of dissatisfaction was shared by several other prominent figures, including Eddie Hearn, who admitted he could barely stomach watching the first round. Hearn's discomfort reflected the widespread feeling that the fight was far from the high standard that many had hoped for, further reinforcing the idea that Tyson's best days were behind him.
Eddie, what did you make? I didn't really watch it. I was in Katie's change room, she was getting stitched up. I watched the first 30 seconds, which were quite entertaining, and then after it was just horrible to watch. And that's, I just, like, did you enjoy watching most of that fight? It was hard to watch, but it was always going to be like that. But it doesn't have to be, they're not making this for me. Look how many people turned up. Look how many people tuned in, so I can't knock it.
Andre Ward spoke about Tyson's enduring presence, saying that Mike Tyson is always Mike Tyson, with a charisma and intensity that commands respect. Ward emphasized Tyson's ability to talk the talk and project such power that opponents can feel it. He encouraged fans to appreciate the fight for what it was, urging them not to overanalyze or expect too much, but rather to enjoy the moment and recognize Tyson's iconic status in the sport.
Y'all don't be disappointed, man. Mike got in tip-top shape. His best shape he could get into for a 58-year-old man. And he went in there and rumbled with a 27-year-old man.
What do you want?
The legs wasn't, excuse the language, y'all. The language wasn't, I mean, not the language, but the legs wasn't, all the way there. The legs wasn't all the way there. Reflexes ain't all the way there. But that's to be expected, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, man, respect Mike for getting in tip-top shape. Respect both of them for putting on this kind of event, man, because the event was live, bro. I didn't think they was going to fill it up. They filled it up. It was probably maybe a few little seats at the top in the nosebleeds that wasn't full, but, man, they did that. They did that. You got to respect that, man. Y'all have a good night. I got to say my name.
Meanwhile, the Netflix broadcast of the fight was marred by technical issues, including buffering problems, which led to a class action lawsuit being filed against the streaming service. Ronald Blue Denton, a Florida man, filed the suit after he and others struggled to watch the event. The technical difficulties only added to the negative sentiment surrounding the fight.
In breaking news, streaming giant Netflix is being issued a class action in relation to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. TMZ reports the lawsuit is over streaming issues and a breach of contract. Thousands of viewers claim they had trouble watching the fight.
Despite all the controversy, Jake Paul remained focused on his next steps. He addressed the hate and criticism with characteristic confidence, stating that he didn't let the feedback affect him. He explained that some people would never understand what the fight was about and would always find something to criticize. The Paul brothers were quick to brush off the negativity and keep their eyes on the bigger picture, continuing to build their brand and make money from these high-profile events.
I mean, genuinely, like, everyone's biggest critique is like, fight a pro, fight this person, fight someone your age. So when I say Canelo is the person, then everyone hates on that. But I'm like, all right, sheep, what do you want? Do you want me to fight someone? Like, people just want to see me lose. So wouldn't the best opportunity to see me lose be going up against Canelo?
Absolutely.
People will never be satisfied with my career until I get flatlined. Then they're going to be happy. So
as the dust settled on the Paul Tyson event, new challengers began to emerge. Fighters from all corners of the boxing world, including rising stars and established champions, began to call out Jake Paul. IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois, who recently defeated Anthony Joshua, was one of the first to challenge Jake, offering a potential fight between the two. Jake seemed interested in the matchup, joking about Dubois' limited fan base compared to his own, but the possibility of the fight seemed distant.
That Daniel Dubois has challenged Jake Paul, if you like, to a fight. How would you see that going?
You know what? I like Jake Paul. I like what he's doing for boxing, but this is getting ridiculous now. Obviously,
Daniel's promoter Frank Warren said that he was not aware about Dubois' plans to make an offer to Jake Paul.
Did you know that Daniel was going to call out Jake Paul?
No, I didn't, and I mean, I would at the very worst, that would be or the best, it would be probably the worst mismatch of all time.
Dubois looked set to rematch Anthony Joshua, but that is now off the table, and he will now likely make a voluntary defense of his IBF title in February. He has been informed he can choose from the top 15 of the IBF rankings, which would rule Paul out by default. Paul is not ranked at heavyweight by any governing body, and would need to take a leap of faith and fight a ranked opponent before earning any sanctioned shot. The champion has yet to pencil in his next fight, but Warren believes Paul is not in the hat with it set to be announced in due course.
Do you think it, Frank, diminishes the credibility? Daniel Dubois is a bona fide, legitimate heavyweight champion of the world. Right? May not be the most recognizable yet, but I'm sure if he keeps on going the way he's going, he will be. Do you think in some respect this is not an ideal look? You don't really want him calling out Jake Paul, do you?
Look, if he wants to do it, he'll do it. It won't happen. He's the IBF champion. Jake's not ranked in the IBF. He won't be ranked in the IBF. He's not fought anybody who's ranked in that in the top 10. So it's never going to happen.
Warren insists that a fight between Jake Paul and Daniel Dubois won't be on the table anytime soon.
Listen, on a serious note, Frank, now that we have you live on Talk Sport, who's Daniel going to fight next?
I hope. I'm meeting him today, actually. I'm meeting him in about an hour, so I'll give it, and we'll see where we go with it. But we're pretty much nearly there to where we need to be. So hopefully we'll get it over the line today, tomorrow, and be ready to announce it.
Come on. Tony Bellew has been quick to mock the prospect of Jake Paul challenging heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois. Bellew, who has been outspoken regarding Paul's boxing career, insists there is simply no place for it.
Now look, Tony, if these reports are right, that Daniel Dubois has offered Jake Paul a shot at the IBF heavyweight world title, well, could you see that fight happening? Could you see Jake Paul getting in the ring with Dubois?
Jeff, I mean, I know the boy's got a great imagination, but I don't know what plans he's on, mate. He's just got to be on Mars or somewhere like that to even think about something like that. I mean, listen, it couldn't be sanctioned anyway, if that's first and foremost.
Dubois has an incredible jab, which helped him dismantle experienced former two-time champion Joshua. It is no wonder Bellew picked it out as a weapon of choice, and Paul would likely face a near impossible bid to dethrone Dubois.
Daniel Dubois is one of the best heavyweights in the world. He would knock Jake Paul out with a jab. And believe you me, boys, I'm not messing. It would just be an embarrassment. I can't lay any of the blame for Friday night at the feet of Mike Tyson. Boys, we all know, and let's not beat around the bush yet.
Yeah, money.
We're all getting in the ring for 20 million.
Yeah, of course.
Jeff, you know it, mate. So we can lay no blame at the feet of the legend and great that is Mike Tyson.
Simon Jordan believes that there's no way Jake Paul goes in the ring with a legitimate boxer like Daniel Dubois, and if he does, he'd be knocked out into a different world.
Daniel Dubois would knock Jason Paul into the next life within 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, you would think, but we'd like Jake surely now just to go back to YouTubing, which is what he does.
No, I'd like him to go into a proper fighter that's at a certain age and get filled in.
You'd like to see that?
Well, insofar as I'd like to see anything about Jake Paul.
But why would that do any good for the sport?
Because it's not about doing any good for the sport. He's not interested.
Well, it should be.
While the future of Jake Paul's boxing career remains uncertain, one thing is clear: the controversy surrounding his fight with Mike Tyson will continue to follow him, and the calls for a true challenge are only getting louder. The next chapter in Jake Paul's boxing journey could very well feature a legitimate contender, and whether or not he takes that leap will likely define the next phase of his career.